Okay, you know you're going to be doing a lot of cardio off of the motorcycle. When you can't get out on the road and ride your road bike, or get out in the dirt and ride your mountain bike, a good way to go is on a good trainer on your road bike. And this is also good when you're just doing a warm-up before you're going to do your weights, or you want to do a little bit of cardio to get, for whatever other reasons, short cardios. It's a good way to go. And of course, when the weather's bad, you're going to be using this a lot more. Another good thing is the Schwinn Airdyne, which I'll show you in a few minutes here. But it's important when you're doing cardio to wear a heart rate monitor. So you want a strap on you. And on the bicycle, if you don't have a device on your bike that shows you your heart rate, you're going to have to wear a watch so you can keep track of your heart rate. I want to go over a few things with you on a bicycle that are really important while you're training, in case you're not familiar with it. One thing is it's a lot of benefit to get the pedals and the snap-in shoes so you're really attached to the pedal. It's like a a road bike shoe for your road bike, or you can use mountain bike shoes. It's just for your training. It doesn't really matter that much. But the important thing when you're training on your bicycle, whether you're on the road or in the stationary position, is you have to get, for one thing, you have to get your bike adjusted just right. Every few millimeters makes a difference, especially with your seat height and the adjustment forward and back. If you're further back on the seat, you're going to be using more of all of your legs, your hamstrings and glutes, as well as your quads. If you're further up on the seat, you're going to be using more of your quads, not so much back here. The general rule is, if you're spinning fast, you're going to be up on the front of your seat more. You don't have a lot of resistance on the pedals. If you're spinning a taller gear and you got more torque on the pedals, you want to be back on the seat more to bring in all the muscle groups. But when you're training on the bicycle, it's so good because you can keep your resistance right where you want, by shifting gears. Most guys that aren't familiar with cycling, they try to run too tall of a gear, and their legs go into anaerobic. They're pumping up with lactic acid. The key is to find the right gear where you can spin from 85 to 90, 95 cadence. Cadence is RPMs, revolutions per minute. If you don't have a cadence sensor on your bike, just watch a second hand on a clock, or time yourself for 30 seconds. And every time you have a downstroke, for example, you might keep track of your right foot. Every time it hits a downstroke, you count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. For 30 seconds, multiply that number by 2, and that's your cadence. That's pretty darn accurate too. So most of the time when you're sitting, you're going to be around 85 cadence is a good one to be at. But that can fluctuate a little bit, and it should. You should try different things. Now when you're standing up, you're going to be at a lower cadence, and you have to adjust the gears so your weight is pushing down through the pedal. And if you're pushing down too hard in a real tall gear and it gets pretty slow, your legs are going to go into anaerobic again, lactic acid. You really don't want that. But your heart rate will go higher when you're in a taller gear, usually. But also, your legs are going to fail earlier too, being in taller gear. So anyway, the cadence is important. Keeping track of your heart rate, and that's where you want to be when you're doing your cardio training. And you'll have different zones that I recommend to train in. You have a link there that I've emailed you, so you know your heart rate target zones. There's 5 of them. most of your cardio training off the motorcycle is going to be in zone 2 and 3, which is anywhere from 70 to 80% of your max heart rate. Now, another thing that you got to know is your max heart rate on the bicycle is going to be different than your max heart rate, say, while you're running or you're riding your motorcycle. Typically, it's probably going to be about 10% lower. So, an example, if your max heart rate while you're running is 185, your max heart rate on a bicycle is probably going to be about 175. Unless you're a professional cyclist and your legs become in that type of conditioning, then your max heart rate could go higher. Probably would go higher, but you know, we're not trying to be pro cyclists. We're just using this as a training tool. So keep those things in mind, and if you have any questions, let me know. Okay, as mentioned before, the Schwinn Airdyne is a good cardio exercise piece of equipment. It works your legs and arms, upper torso, everything at the same time. And you can also stand up on it too and run it like this. Or of course you're sitting down. You can go back on the seat a little further, more upright. You can come forward, work in different body positions. The problem with the Airdyne is, though, to get to really raise your heart rate up high, you're going to be kind of more in a anaerobic state because it won't spin fast enough. Your legs will really pump up. Then the bicycle is more adjustable to stay in an aerobic state. But it's a good tool to use sometimes.